Back with another one, Manchester City versus Arsenal. We're going to be reviewing this match, and Manchester City win again. And it was not the prettiest of wins. But before we get into that, yo, I want to thank everybody out there for watching the content. Yo, if you digging the content, feel free to get at me in the comments, but also feel free to share the video. Yo, that's how we're going to get our name out there. And it really just helps other people find us with the YouTube algorithm. So let's get into this, man. Manchester City versus Arsenal win. And it's another win for us, but it's also another 1-0 win. So really, when you think about this game, it's I think we were expecting a little bit more goals, but yo, if you watch my match preview, I thought this game could be a little tricky for us. And it panned out, it was a little bit tricky for us, but it's another 1-0 win versus Arsenal. We played them early in the year. I think that was back in October. I did the preview to that yesterday, but we played that game yesterday and it was a 1-0 win. And here we go, another 1-0 win versus Arsenal. But at the end of the day, y'all, I'm really happy that we won, not only to keep the momentum, but it's also the style of football we playing. So let's look at the starting lineup. And but before we get into that, yo, we got to talk about this. Yo, the teacher versus the student. And, honestly, at the end of the day, I don't think that Mikel Arteta was in charge of Arsenal last time we played at the Emirates. But, we've had success kind of going down to the Emirates and kind of winning games. But, last time we went down there, I don't think he was the manager. I think that he was currently with us and then got his job later with Arsenal a few days later. But, it was honestly good to see the teacher versus the student. And I know Pep Guardiola doesn't look at it like that. He would never just kind of, put Mikel Arteta in that student role. But as we get into this game, you'll find out why I'm calling the student, because at the end of the day, we love Arteta over here at Manchester City, but you can see that there's certain things that he needs to improve on with this team. And honestly, he doesn't have the players. But let's get into the starting lineup. So let's first try to look at Manchester City starting lineup. So, we got Edison in goal. We got Cancelo playing right back. Diaz and Stones come back into the fold. Also with Zinchenko playing out in left back, and then we got Fernandinho in there, giving Rodri that rest. Other things, Mahrez and Raheem Sterling getting right back out there again. They just played against Everton, but to see them again, and then now seeing Kevin De Bruyne being integrated into the team. But let me talk about Laporte was fit. As you can see, Laporte was actually on the bench for this one. Torres, I honestly wanted Torres to get some run out here, but it kind of shows me a little bit that I think Torres is going to actually get some burn come up here and later in the week versus Mönchengladbach. So let's look again at the starting lineup, because I personally thought it was going to be an interesting dynamic where you talk about Aymeric Laporte and then Stones. Who's going to play alongside Ruben Diaz? Honestly, we know Ruben Diaz is a lot, and Pep Guardiola has been going with the Stones and Ruben Diaz situation or back pairing for most of the majority of the season, especially in the league. And now we've seen Aymeric Laporte kind of come back into that role, but maybe, Pep's giving him a little bit of rest. But it's interesting to see that he chose to go with Stones and Diaz in this game. So what does that really say about what we might see Wednesday versus Mönchengladbach? So that's what we're looking at there. But, honestly, Raheem Sterling I think he's always good against Arsenal, so I'm never shocked to see him in there. And I thought he was going to be a starter. Mahrez, like I said, I really thought it was going to be Torres playing. Phil Foden, as you see, makes the bench. And then the Walker versus Cancelo thing. And in this particular game, as we go through it, you'll find the points to where I thought we could have used Walker, because I didn't think Cancelo was that good defensively, and I'm not going to pick on him too much, but I look for Cancelo to do things, improve defensively, but I don't really look for him to do things offensively. The reason why is that we know he's outstanding when it comes to his offensive capabilities as far as being able to pass, but I just look for him to provide a little bit more strength and, I guess consistency, willing to improve on a defensive level. So let's look at the way Mikel Arteta chose to line up. And I thought this was very interesting, because kind of watching the game, like I watched the game over here in the States, you could hear kind of, the NBC crew kind of talking about why he chose to not have Smith Rowe on there. Now, we know Smith Rowe has been playing a lot of games recently. I was interested to see Tierney come back into this game, because I think he's one of their better players, and they really need something like him. And I know they've been trying Cedric out in that left back situation, but he decides to go with Pepe, Aubameyang, and then Odegaard, Saka. And then he also elects to play this. It's honestly like a 4-3-2-1. But when you watch the game, you can see that there are certain parts of the game that where certain parts of the game to where it's a little bit difficult. And what I mean by that is like he goes with the 4-2-3-1, but he has two CDMs, pure CDMs. Because really, when you think about what El Nini brings to the table, what Xhaka brings to the table, I don't really consider them to be either one of them box to box talents. And I know that Thomas Partey is out for them. I was hoping that we were going to get a chance to see him, but obviously he's out and he didn't really, he wasn't going to be able to make the bench today. But I thought the situation to go with Odegaard as opposed to Smith Rowe was very interesting. And we're going to talk about that. And he has Mari out there. And, Arsenal is really, this game is important to them, of course, because Mikel Arteta wants to send a message to his team that, okay, we're not where we ultimately want to be in the Premier League as far as the table. But at the end of the day, we need to show that we're getting better. So I think that he was trying to come out with this team, but not necessarily trying to rest players for what may happen on Thursday. Thursday's a long time away. So I didn't understand resting players, but it is what it is. And we're going to talk about, some of these players as we go through the game. But all right, let's get into this game. So, right off the back, bro. Right off the back. That's what I'm talking about. When you watch City, as a City fan, we sometimes want that instant gratification. Sometimes we get it, sometimes we don't. Most of the times we don't really get it because we start out the game and you be looking at the first 10 minutes like, can we get a goal and kind of get this game going and start just running up the score? But it didn't really happen like that in this game. But what did happen was, what is that? A minute and 17 seconds in, bro. Minute and 17 seconds in. And I want to say, I don't always shout out this person, but I really want to give, this man right here. Raheem Sterling gets the goal, but happy birthday, Mr. Riyad Mahrez, because I know I don't show him enough love on this channel, but what he did in this particular game was get the ball out wide on the right-hand side. He sizes up Tierney, and I thought that this was actually a moment for Tierney to kind of learn how to be better defensively. We know that Tierney's young. He's coming in from, I think, the Scottish League. He's coming in from the Scottish League, and he's been with Arsenal now for maybe about 2 years, from what I can remember. But he's one of their bright players, but defensively, you always strive to get better. So this is not a critique of a young defensive player, but, when Riyad Mahrez sizing him up, kind of going at him, you can see he was just kind of backpedaling and kind of letting Riyad Mahrez just kind of run at him. And I thought that there was an opportunity for him to kind of stop that cross, but it's kind of like in basketball, If you got the basketball, you just kind of crossing somebody up right in front of you as you look to penetrate the lane or go to the hole. If they're just backing up, you're just going to be able to do whatever you want. So I really think that it was kind of weird how Riyad Mahrez, we know he's silky with his dancing when he gets the ball out there, but he was a little bit direct in the moment to where he got the ball, sized Tierney up, dribbled right at him, and then puts in this wonderful cross like over the top right there for who players, but at the end of the day, it was a nice goal for him and a way to get that header of all things, to get that header, and the next thing you know, it's Raheem Sterling with the goal. So, shout out Raheem Sterling for that. I thought that was a beautiful moment in this particular game. So it is what it is. But we start off the game really lively, and let's get into other talking points of this game. So let me kind of take that away real quick. Bear with me 1 second. Because there's certain parts that, bear with me, I got my notes here, but honestly, when the game started off, we score a goal within a minute and 17 seconds. Now you're looking at the game, a minute and 17 seconds in. What happens? Another opportunity comes from Raheem Sterling. Now, he didn't get the shot off the way he wanted to, and I think that finish would have been a little bit better. But, at the end of the day, he gets it, and I think Leno saves it. But it's just like, bro, you're looking at that second, I'm like, can he get another one right now real quick? So, but the other point too is I thought early on, I'm talking about within the first 10 minutes of the game, not only do we score, we get another opportunity to potentially score, but what actually ended up happening, what I thought was kind of weird, was Arsenal's back line seemed to be all over the place. Now, I know that David Luiz didn't start this game. He later came on in the game, but they just seem to be unorganized the way we were attacking them. Now, I know we play this false nine situation. You got De Bruyne coming in, and it's basically 5 forward spread out across your back line. But they just seem to be like, what do we know how to do? We're nervous right here. So the back line seemed to be all over the place. But we started really, at City, we started really pressing them early on. And I really like that attacking energy within that, first I want to say, 10, 20 minutes. And we kind of progressed in this game, but I'm gonna get to my halftime talking points before I say any of that stuff. But I thought for most of the first half, Arsenal seemed to be really chasing most of the game. Now, what I mean by that is when you play against Man City, most of the time we're gonna have possession of the ball. So in that first half, it looked almost like we had like 70% of the possession because Arsenal could not string passes together for most of the first half. I'm going to talk about some bright moments that they definitely had, but when you look at the game, it felt like we just had all that possession, and outside of really that first 5 minutes where we had two opportunities, one goal and one, possible opportunity there, or half chance, if you will, for most of that first half, outside of that first, like 5 or 7 minutes, we had the control of the ball, but we couldn't really get the ball in the final third in the spots that we needed to create the space. But one thing Arsenal couldn't do, they couldn't string two passes together. I was just sitting back to myself and I'm like, not only are they chasing us, because as City fans, we know that that's what we want to do. We want to keep possession of the ball and we want to bring you out of spaces. I figured Arsenal would be compact in this match and they wouldn't get a lot of shooting opportunities. It was going to try to look to be more clinical. Think like 6 shots, 4 on goal, or 4 shots, 2 on goal type of situation. But one thing, they didn't even look like they were just trying to even go forward for the most part. And I gotta say, like, if I'm an Arsenal player on that field, it must have been frustrating for mad points in the first half, because you're like, not only do we look like we're about to get an opportunity, but soon as we look like we're going to get an opportunity to break, Ferner was all up in their mix. I thought Ferner was outstanding in this game. He was just breaking up play, doing what classic Fernandinho does. I'm talking about like 2 seasons ago, Ferner. I mean, maybe it's the fact that, he's been kind of being worked back into the fold since coming back into the team, and maybe feels fresher. But I thought he was outstanding in this game as far as breaking up play. They had no opportunity to even look to go forward. And, I want to shout out somebody. And I think, as I'm watching the game, and you can hear the commentators over here saying Odegaard's not really getting the ball, or he's not really getting involved in this game. And I thought that there were times to where, this is obviously a learning lesson for Odegaard, especially in the first half. It's like, not only are you up there with the forwards, and maybe that was by design that you're supposed to play up there like closer to Aubameyang playing that striker position, but if you're not getting the ball, and that you got Xhaka and you got El Nini, and they're not the best of passers, technically I don't watch a lot of Arsenal games, but I can tell you that they're not the best forward passes. Maybe you should drop in there and try to get the ball and push to go forward. I thought that he was just kind of being static. It's kind of like just standing around waiting for something to happen. So this is a moment for him to, kind of learn and ease his way into learning life in the Premier League, because, bro, you can't just sit back and wait for the ball to come to you, because even when the ball comes to you, Ferner's on you like this. And that ain't only Ferner, that's going to be other players too. So that's just a teachable moment for him. I thought that Diaz was absolutely outstanding. Now, what I mean about outstanding is that obviously he's a defender. Obviously, we know he's been solid this season. But the way he was just dribbling the ball, going forward, I mean, your man was bringing up the ball like he was like Kevin De Bruyne, taking it from like, back from the back line all the way forward to like in the 18-yard box. He was just dribbling past people. John started getting involved in it. And I was like, I know we got Diaz to do defensive things, but he really looked impressive on the ball to me, like really trying to drive forward. And we got to points in that first half where we were really all up in their mix. So I really thought that they were doing that, not only being solid defensively, but not really having a whole lot of things to do, but, really trying to drive the ball forward and say, we got 1 goal, but maybe we needed another one. So that's what I really like. Now, as the first half turned a little bit, in my opinion, of the game, if you disagree with me, feel free to let me know out there what you guys are thinking. But I thought that they started finding success a little bit in the early in the first half, particularly on the left-hand side of the pitch, on the kind of coming down, on the left-hand side of the pitch, going up against João Cancelo there. Tierney and Saka started really getting involved, and that's what every opportunity that they had came down the left-hand side for them. And Saka and Tierney were just kind of linking up. Now, much didn't come of it, but I really like the fact that that's where they were creating the most opportunities. On the right side, where Zinchenko was, when they were trying to drive on the right, none of that was going on. So it was kind of interesting to see how that kind of unfolded because they really was creating all types of havoc kind of down there. But maybe that was a situation where not only João Cancelo needs to be a little bit better, but you could tell that Pep Guardiola was like, yo, Riyad Mahrez, who's normally solid defensively for a winger, might have been saying, yo, you need to come back and help out João Cancelo because that's where all of the traffic was going. So I really thought that at least Saka, Saka's one of their standout players. He seemed to be really linking up really well and finding those pockets of space in the first half. So, like I said, in the first half, we had a lot of the possession. When you're watching the game, it almost felt like we had 70% of the possession. But I think when I checked on my phone on halftime, it looked like maybe it was like 58% possession. But that's what I'm saying. With Arsenal, they didn't really look to be getting involved in the game other than some opportunities that Saka and Tierney were creating. So, really the second half starts and I think that we started trying to find a little bit more of those spaces. Like Raheem Sterling could be seen early on trying to run at that defense. Riyad Mahrez was kind of running at that defense. I'm still going to look for him to be a little bit more direct in approaches, but there was one thing that I mentioned in one of my previous videos about Riyad Mahrez is that one thing about Riyad Mahrez, son is mad aggressive. Like once he get the ball on the foot, he either going to shoot it. He's learning that pass, and that pass is getting much better. But your man is really out there to shoot. That's really what he does, or at least put pressure. And I'm still looking for him to be a little bit more direct. But there was something that I mentioned in one of my other videos to where he's driving at somebody on that right side, he's going to cut in on his left foot. But early in this game, especially in the first half, you could see that he was driving at people, but then not afraid to bring it back on the right and at least shoot. But then that's an opportunity for him to kind of learn how to be better and then try to, get that pass over with the right foot. But I like Riyad Mahrez being aggressive, not only taking it with the left, but also bringing it back to the right. So, just keep improving on that player. So I really like that. But in the second half, we try to be finding these spaces. And then early on, you could see that, Kevin De Bruyne in that 55-minute mark, there was an opportunity where I think that him and Gundogan was trying to link up. And then shortly right after that, I think Kevin De Bruyne, God willing, he's going to be fit for the rest of the year, but you could see him just trying to really get back to fitness. Last time against Everton, I think we might have saw him for 15, 20 minutes. Today, he got a full 60. So that he's recovering and trying to get that energy back in his legs. But I think right around the 63rd minute mark, Gabriel Jesus came on and, shout out to De Bruyne, man. It was all right, a day for him, but kind of other little points in the game, not really much happened after that. I mean, at the end of the day, I think around the 67th minute mark, I'm kind of thinking to myself, like, yo, we haven't put this team away. I mean, it's only 1-0, as bad as Arsenal has been playing, in my opinion, because in the second half, Arsenal started just kind of going back. They just kind of started not even really trying to go forward. You know what I mean? Not only Odegaard, but there was an opportunity where I think Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang started getting the ball on the left side and just kept looking to pass it back. And Xhaka plays the ball back. But I was kind of shocked that they weren't passing the ball faster a little bit. But, that's something that Mikel Arteta is going to have to work out with them. But they just didn't look to really be trying to even go forward. But after 67 minutes, I'm like, yo, bro, anything can happen in the rest of the game. We got a full 30 minutes. You know what I mean? So you can't really be comfortable with this 1-0 win. But as you can see from City, it don't matter, bro. That defense is solid. So even with that 1-0 win, we've got that in our DNA. We got that in our locker now to be able to say, yo, it's 1-0, but we're going to close it off strong and we'll just take the 1-0 if it is. But I think around the 73rd minute mark, Lacazette came on for Odegaard. Smith Rowe came on for Pepe. And these are probably good decisions by Arteta because he tried to get a little bit more, pep into their step. But I was really shocked at not only just the fact that they weren't really getting opportunities to try to drive forward, but they just look to be even getting tired in the game because, honestly, when you're playing against City, you're spending so much energy just chasing the ball. And when you get the ball, bro, if you lose it that fast, it's kind of over for you. So that's really what I thought was interesting right there. Let me see what else. Like I said, they seem to be kind of, for most of the second half, kind of in love with backwards passing. But City, when you kind of look at it from a City perspective, it was kind of like we was playing that second half really like in third gear, kind of cruising the game and just trying to wait the game out and try to just go home with a 1-0 win at the end of the day. But that's really what it felt like to me. I think there was another opportunity. I think João Cancelo might have had a nice opportunity. Oh yeah, João Cancelo did have a nice opportunity. For some reason, I think it's Gabriel Jesus and João Cancelo are kind of linking up on the right side of the pitch, and Gabriel Jesus finds João Cancelo. João Cancelo gets the ball, right touch, and then kind of crosses it over right inside to the left foot. But he flicks on the right shot of the boot and try to, kind of try to get it up in there, boop, with the outside of the foot, little flick, boop, and it just didn't come off, but it looked sweet. And I'm saying to myself, yo, bro, that was a nice move. Finish it off with the left foot next time play. Like he really had it. So at the end of the day, that's really the type of game it was. But all in all, there was another opportunity, I think, that kind of later happened again. This kind of tells you what kind of match it was. It's like 1-0 to us, and it kind of was like a stale affair in a sense, meaning that I think there was another moment right in the 83rd minute of the match. Aubameyang gets the ball. He's trying to run at John Stones. He's on the left-hand side, and, they just running. And, Aubameyang's a speed merchant, bro. Like, he's got the wheels. And it was nice to see John be able to run, shoulder to shoulder with him, but then John kind of gives him a shoulder and just kind of puts him on his butt a little bit. And I didn't think nothing was dirty of it, but I did kind of say, yo, you know what? That's the kind of toughness I like, though. John, I kind of like that toughness, you know what I mean? So then you can kind of see Diaz and him kind of high five each other. And I'm like, whoa, a little bit of that toughness. I kind of like that, yo. John might have earned his spot on Wednesday just from doing that little bit of move. I like that at the end. Like I said, it wasn't dirty, but it's just like, yo, we out here playing. I respect you. So I'm going to give you a little shove because I know you a speed merchant. So a lot of respect. But full-time thoughts on the game. It really was what it was. And, I say full-time thoughts on the game. I really, from the Manchester City standpoint, Riyad Mahrez delivered a beautiful cross. Raheem Sterling, not the biggest of players, but just to get the header on target, back of the net after a minute and 17 seconds. But other than that in the game, I thought Ferner was absolutely outstanding in this match. The way he was just breaking up play. And, Diaz doing this thing, just kind of driving us forward, making sure we stay solid. But, honestly, my man of the match would definitely be Fernandinho, because when I watched him, they didn't have a shot in hell at going forward for most of the game when Ferner was really on them. Like, they were either passing the ball back or they was just like, yo, as soon as we get the ball, this guy's on us. Gundogan's on us. Like, we were really on them and not even pressing to like our fullest capabilities. You know what I mean? So Ferner just was snapping up things, and Ferner looks rested, man. So it's good to see Ferner back in the fold. From an Arsenal standpoint, Arteta just going to keep working with this team and trying to get this team going in the right direction. I know they got a big game coming up on Thursday, but honestly, Odegaard needs to like learn how to work himself into the matches a little bit more, be a little more active. And I thought there was a point that he should have brought Ceballos on earlier to try to do something with the midfield because, bro, if you're going to play that midfield where you're going to play like those two in that double pivot, they both do the same job, player. You can see in this game that they really didn't either get no help, or maybe they should have been communicated to Odegaard like, yo, bro, drop back here to get the ball. And then that way he would have never been so static. But it's just communication things that they need to work on. T&E was doing his thing, but, you got to work on that backpedaling player, like none of that backpedaling. Andy Robertson, and I'm not comparing him to Andy Robertson. That wouldn't be fair. But, Andy Robertson at least throw a foot in there. So you want to just kind of throw a foot in there. And I thought Saka just keep doing what he do, but Arsenal need to kind of get back to that. We need to go forward. We need to go forward, even though I thought that they were going to try to be compact and much in this game. So, with enough of that said, honestly, at the end of the day, I'm so happy to have another win under our belt. That's all that matters. This is Manchester City, and we'll take a win any way we possibly can. Coming into this match, it was 14 games left in the Premier League. I think 42 points left to play. Now we got 13 games left to play. So it's just another win in the right direction. I didn't care if it was going to be a 1-0 win. I didn't even care if this game was going to be a draw. At the end of the day, I just didn't want to see a loss because I didn't want that to mess up the confidence kind of going into Wednesday. So, at the end of the day, we come out of here with a 1-0 win, and that's all it needs to take sometimes because a win is a win. And at the end of the day, that's what we want. So we on the Mooch back. Come on, City. I know you guys can do it. It's all about the Champions League. For most people, I'm a Premier League person, but I'm going to be rooting for the team on Wednesday. I might do a preview on this on the Gladbach game. God, I can't even talk, but I might do a preview for the game. I think probably on Tuesday, because I'm really going to be interested to see who starts in that game, what Pep's probably thinking going into that game, and with the mindset of the team. Because we haven't had the best of luck in the Champions League. So for me, I'm just hoping that we can get past this round, make it to the quarterfinals, show what it's all about. The quarterfinals has been our deadly curse. So to Mönchengladbach, I'm going to be rooting for the team. I know the team is not going to take it easy because we know we haven't really been successful in Europe as much as we would like to be. But, come on, City. Go out there. Then I'll see you guys back here on Tuesday. City, go get us a win on Wednesday. We love you either way. We rock with you either way. And if you guys are going to, keep shouting out the channel, I really need you guys to keep supporting like you always do. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. You already know. I'll see you guys on Tuesday, and we out.